Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jackie. I'm really glad that you're here. So a couple of the things that are doing really well in my garden at the moment is silverbeet, which is behind me, and I've also got a couple of kale plants that have been attacked by pests, but I'm going to harvest some of it today as well. I'm also going to use, I've just noticed that I've got a couple of leek still in the garden that I probably need using up. So the recipe that I'm using today calls for 1 small onion, and I figure that 2 medium-sized leek should be a good substitute for that. So we're going to use a few things out of the garden today, and I thought I'd bring you along. So now that I have a mountain of kale and spinach leaves, let's head into the kitchen. Okay, so as is often the way, I have over harvested, and so I'm actually only using half of the spinach, half of the silverbeet that I've harvested and half of the kale. There's still an awful lot, so there'll be some more videos of how I'm going to use up the rest of that. So I'm using quite large bunches of both kale and silverbeet, and it's quite a lot. I will be using the stem, but if it's some of these are a bit brown, seen better days, so those will get snipped off. But I'm actually going to use the stems. I'm just going to cut them up quite finely, and obviously we've got the couple of leeks here as well. So let's get into it. So just to let you know, this recipe is actually coming from, this is probably back to front, Food Savers A to Z, the Essential Cornersmith Kitchen Companion by Elliott-Howery and Jaimee Edwards. I find this book really, really good. As far as a lot of the recipes on my channel you'll see are out of this book because they're just easy, simple. And since I've started using this book, I'm just a lot more relaxed about substituting things in and out of recipes. So I found it really helpful from that point of view. I haven't actually told you what we're going to cook today. So we're actually going to, it's basically going to be like a wilted spinach or a wilted silverbeet and kale. And then from there, we're actually going to do some different things with it. In the recipe, there's actually 5 options that you can do once you get it down to this wilted spinach point, wilted silverbeet point. But I actually need some breakfast, so I'm going to actually bake an egg in the silverbeet mix in the oven, and I'm also going to make soup out of it as well. So there's going to be a couple of different things that I do with it. So now let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to rip the leaves off the stems. So as you can see, the kale has had a bit of pest damage. But if you think some holes are going to stop me from eating something that I've spent a lot of time growing, got another thing coming. Okay, so this is what we've got from the kale, and now I will chop up the silverbeet. Okay, so these are the stems that I'm keeping. As you can see, I put aside some of the ones that were looking a bit worse for wear. I am just going to chop very, very roughly these leaves because, as you saw, some of them are quite big. I'm just going to... So this is all of the spinach and kale that we're using for this recipe. Now I'll just quickly chop up the leeks. You'll often find that the leeks you buy are a bit more dirty, but I find the ones I get out of the garden actually aren't. There is some dirt in there. I'm going to have to rinse those. Okay, now we've just got to slice up 4 garlic cloves. Right. Okay, so I'm just going to use this great big dish of mine just because there's so many leaves and I foresee it being somewhat difficult. And get that heating up. So, 1/3 cup of oil. And 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but I'm out of my normal salt, so I'm just going to have a guess. And then my leek and the kale stems. Now I have actually chopped these up a little bit more. I just thought they probably needed a bit more chopping, so they are a little bit finer. So that then is we're going to cook that for about 10 minutes. Okay, so now we add the garlic and a little bit of black pepper. Or however much black pepper you like, really. And then we let that cook for another couple of minutes. Okay, now so we make all of our own stock because we buy our meat. We buy, a half a beef or 1/4 of a beef. So we make our own stock from the bones. They come with those. So that's a cup of stock, a cup of wine, if I've got it. Close enough. Put in a smidge of water. Some thyme. That stock has actually melted already. Okay, and then we're going to put in the leaves. Okay. So I'm going to put the lid on that, turn it down to medium-low. I'm going to put on the lid, and that is going to cook for 40 minutes. So this is a low and slow cook. The recipe assures me that this is going to be amazing. So I'll see you in 40 minutes. Okay, so the 40 minutes has happened. Now, it's not bright green anymore. So the bright greenness has gone, which is fine. This is actually what we want. So this is what it looks like now. So what I'm going to do now is put in a squeeze of lemon and some lemon zest. So I'll do the lemon zest first. Then I'm going to squeeze out some juice. Just going to put a little bit in. Stir that up. So that's our base. So the base is done at this point. Now, as I said, there's a couple of different things that I'm doing with this. I'm going to take out the sprigs of thyme. Found a better dish. So I'm actually going to put some into this dish, and I'm going to put an egg in the center of it, and I'm going to put it in the oven. And that is going to be my very late breakfast. So there's that. So you can do that in this dish. If you were doing this for 4 or 5 people, you could just make little indents in the dish that you've got all of this in now, and crack the eggs into it and then put it straight into the oven, and you've got a breakfast, a late breakfast. That's what I'm doing with a little bit of it, but what I'm going to do with the rest of it is actually make a soup, which is going to be for lunch tomorrow. So I'll get out this bit that I need for the egg and show you that, and then we'll move on to the soup. Very much. Okay. I'm going to crack my egg straight into that. I've got this little oven-proof dish, and I'm going to put that straight in the oven. So now, the soup. So I'm going to add 4 cups of stock. So this is still frozen, but it won't take long to defrost. This is a great thing about making your own stock is that you've always got stock on hand. And then once that's melted, what I've actually got here, it just says, so the recipe just says a cup of any type of vegetable. So it might be frozen peas, might be whatever you like. But I've got a zucchini out of the garden, so I'm going to put that in. And I actually won't cook it much after I put that in, because we'll obviously heat it up for when we eat it for lunch. So I'll pretty much turn it off, put the zucchini in, and then it'll be pretty much cooked, and we'll heat it up tomorrow. Okay, now here's my breakfast. So that looks amazing. Now this is very nearly up to, the soup is very nearly up to temperature. I've had a taste and I actually think it needs more of the lemon zest, and then I'm going to squeeze the rest of this into there as well. And then I'm also going to put some more of the black pepper and more salt. Give that a stir. Yeah, that's heaps better. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put this zucchini straight in. I'm just going to turn it off and then put the zucchini in, and then that zucchini will be partly cooked by the time this cools down, and then when I heat it up tomorrow for lunch, it will cook the rest of the way. So there you have it. We have a very hearty vegetable soup, and we have a very scrumptious looking breakfast, and a really good way of using up silverbeet and kale out of the garden. I hope you enjoy it. Share down below the ways that you like to use up kale and silverbeet, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks guys, thanks for hanging out with me.